Indeed, with our very special guest tonight, Graham Hancock. You know, lots of strange things happening around this universe. We could call it supernatural things. In a moment, we're going to check in with Graham. His latest work is called Supernatural Meetings with the Ancient Teachers of Mankind. Graham Hancock has become recognized as an unconventional thinker who raises legitimate questions about humanity's history and prehistory and offers an increasingly popular challenge to the entrenched views of Orthodox scholars. He graduated from Durham University with first-class honors in sociology. He then went on to pursue a career in quality journalism, writing for many of Britain's leading newspapers. He's our special guest tonight on Coast to Coast. Graham, welcome back. How are you?
Thank you. Nice to be back. How are you? I'm fine.
Doing great out here in the States. All is well, and you know, we just keep the program growing, and it seems to be working that way.
Quite a phenomenon.
Absolutely. Graham, speaking of phenomena, this book, my gosh, Supernatural. How long have you been working on this one?
Well, it goes back many years, but in terms of a focused effort to actually write a book, about 3 years.
What's your take on, because so many people have their own definitions for the word like supernatural. How about you?
Well, the supernatural, if we go strictly to the dictionary definition, we have science, we have observation of nature, and certain rules and forces have been established as the laws of nature. So supernatural technically is anything that cannot be explained within the existing laws and forces of nature. But probably a good idea to orient my own view on this from the outset, as it'll help to shed light as we go along. I think when we talk about supernatural beings, whether they be ghosts, whether they be demons, whether they be angels, whether they be fairies and elves, or even the latest manifestation of the supernatural, and I think that's largely what we're dealing with the so-called alien phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that we are dealing with something real. I want to state this at the outset. It's something real. But it isn't something of our physical dimension. It exists in other dimensions and vibrates at a different frequency from the frequency that our senses are tuned to. And I think what is the common factor in all supernatural experiences is that the person or group of people who have those experiences are in what is called an altered state of consciousness. Now, altered states of consciousness can be brought about by a whole range of different techniques. Shamans in hunter-gatherer societies all around the world are the masters of this, and they have developed over tens of thousands of years a range of very specific techniques that are designed to put them into an altered state of consciousness so that they can effectively retune the receiver wavelength of their brain and tune in to these other dimensions and deal and negotiate directly with the supernatural beings who inhabit them. And amongst them, the most common shamanic technique is the cultivation of certain powerful plants, shamanic plants, which we in the West call hallucinogenic plants,
right?
Which create visions or which make visions possible. But there are many other techniques: rhythmic dancing, certain kinds of music played repeatedly over long periods of time, austerities, starvation, even pain. Sometimes the atmosphere of particular places can have this effect. Electromagnetic fields can have this effect. This is why I think certain houses produce experiences of ghosts, because the house itself works on the consciousness of the individual. So there's a whole range of techniques and methods. Some people do this spontaneously. About 2% of every population have their brain chemistry at just the right setting to tune in to these other dimensions. But for those of us who are not in the 2%, we need a push. And either one of these shamanistic techniques, the use of plant hallucinogens, for example, or electromagnetic fields, intense electromagnetic fields, the environment of a particular place can push us temporarily into this altered state, and suddenly we start picking up the transmissions from the other side. It's like we open a secret doorway inside our brains and are able to project our consciousness through into other dimensions. And this, I think, is why the supernatural has proved so difficult to measure and investigate by the techniques of mainstream science, because mainstream science just can't go there. We have the instrument inside our heads. It's called our brains. And the essential factor is to retune its receiver wavelength. And the exciting thing from the study of shamanistic cultures that I've been involved in is that it offers us a reliable and systematic manner to investigate the supernatural realm. In other words, if we can learn from shamans, then it's possible for us to actually directly investigate this realm. And fortunately, some of our scientists, a very few, have begun to do this and have begun to do it in a scientific manner.
Are the shamans, Graham, approachable? I mean, will they talk to people who come upon them?
Absolutely. I've spent a great deal of time in the Amazon jungle working with shamans there, and I find them the most grounded, the most practical, the most reasonable people on Earth, extremely approachable. Many of these shamans, even in remote regions of the Amazon jungle, feel that they have a mission to the West. They feel that the West has become a sick and dangerous creature, and they see the evidence of this in the ongoing destruction of the rainforest all around them, and they feel that they understand the reason for this, that the West has lost contact with the spirit world. We no longer have a direct connection with the world of spirit. We've handed over our personal responsibilities in this area to a class of intermediaries, the priests, the mullahs, the rabbis, who themselves very rarely have any direct contact with supernatural realms, but simply repeat what they have been told by the previous generation. And in fact, many of the established religions are reluctant and unhappy at the idea that an individual might directly contact supernatural realms. But this, the shamans in the Amazon feel, is essential for the recovery of health by the West, that we reestablish our connection with the spirit. And as the shamans rightly say, the spirit, the supernatural world, is all around us all the time. It interpenetrates our lives in every way, whether we like it or not. And where they're different from us is that shamans have made a virtue of this. They've said, okay, the supernatural realm is there. It does affect everything we do. We must deal with it directly. We must investigate it. We must negotiate with it. This is what's so different about us in our society today, that we deny the existence of this realm. We want nothing to do with it. We diminish it. We deride it. We ignore it. We say, oh, we can't measure it. We can't weigh it. We can't count it. So therefore, it doesn't exist. The shamans of traditional societies have preserved and kept alive a tremendous mystery, and now is the time for us to learn to them. And yes, very approachable people.
Are these shamans? Are they, growing in stature? And I don't mean in height. Are we getting more and more of them, or are they dying off?
No, I would say in a curious kind of way, we're getting more and more of them, because I need to emphasize that what is the crucial characteristic of a shaman? The crucial characteristic of a shaman is that he or she is an individual who has mastered altered states of consciousness, who can put their consciousness into a different place and explore the realms that open up there. So the essence of shamanism is experience and practice. It isn't centuries of so-called knowledge or received wisdom handed down from generation to generation. It isn't a body of texts. It isn't a body of teachings. It's actual direct experience of the supernatural realm attained in deliberately induced altered states of consciousness. So the shaman is not a victim. The shaman is not like somebody possessed who is possessed by a spirit from the other world. On the contrary, the shaman is an active player entering the other realm and negotiating and dealing directly with the spirit